What's up, everybody?
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, hey, hey. What's going on? Welcome to the latest episode of the Geeking Squad podcast. Woo, golf clap.
Yay.
Little clap, okay.
Clap, clap.
And this is episode number 7.
Wow, 7
Lucky
already.
7, huh?
Lucky 7. You gotta roll that 7. Boom. Vegas, baby. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay.
No clue. I got nothing.
Just pulling shit
I'm
out.
just, what else is new? I'm always pulling bullshit out of thin air. I am one of your hosts, Larry, and down the way from me, sitting there with his scruffy beard.
Yeah.
Yeah, making noises on the microphone. Beard keeps scruffing up. It is none other than
Vito.
All right, and then the ticky-tacky over here in the middle. She is the cement between the bricks that keeps the wall from tumbling down. It is none other than
Megan.
And yeah, we're here for another episode of Geeking Squad Podcast. It's where we talk about subjects, topics, memes, all sorts of things that have been brought up in our Facebook group known as the Geeking Squad. So if you're not already a member of that, it doesn't cost nothing. Just
Totally free.
It's totally free. I'd buy that for $1. But you don't have to because it's free.
It's free.
But yeah, go over there if you're on Facebook and sign up and see what you're missing. But if you did miss out, if you haven't seen it, well, guess what, by gum? That's what this show is here for. We're here to tell you about stuff. But before we get into talking about all that kind of stuff, I have to do the usual, which is ask you guys, how have you been doing?
Okay.
You know, people are going to be like, why does Larry ask this at the beginning of every episode? Because every show you get the same response. It's like,
Okay.
yeah, doing okay. Yeah, good enough.
Never mind.
What?
Another.
You've been mouthy all evening, man.
Moi?
Yeah, moi, moo, you, moo. I don't know how to say that. You, moi. Yeah, she's been mouthing off to me all evening, man. I'll tell you.
I got a little bit of that Joker left in me.
Yeah.
It's residual Joker.
Oh man, yeah. If you people didn't watch our little teaser video called Joker's Revenge, man, go on YouTube and watch it. Trust me, it's so stupid.
Oh, it was a fun one to film, though.
Yeah, it was.
But it was a lot of fun, and it's fun to watch too. You know, especially if you want to see me and Vito get tormented.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, you enjoyed
Sure
it
you did.
too much. But all right, yeah, all right. Niceties aside, not that you're being so nice today. Yeah. But yeah, now all that stuff aside, let's just get right into it. Let's get into a little segment that I like to call
What's shaking, Bacon?
It's never going to get old.
No. As long as it makes you guys laugh every time. But yeah, so in What's Shakin' Bacon, we just like to talk about a bunch of the little tidbits that get bandied about in the Geeking Squad, usually from memes or news articles and stuff. And most of the ones recently have just been about like TV shows and stuff. Like there's a lot of talk, probably because now we're getting to the end of the summer, and so there's going to be fall and winter shows coming up, but there's just loads of stuff. A lot of stuff is like spin-offs and reboots and sequels, because God forbid they come up with anything new. You know, why do that?
Yeah.
I saw like one thing, I don't know if you guys were a fan or not, but Nickelodeon is supposed to be rebooting Ren and Stimpy. Did you guys ever watch that?
I've never watched that.
Never watched it growing up.
Really? I'm surprised you didn't
I know.
watch
I've
it.
seen-
I thought you did for sure.
Yeah,
Vito.
no, because I didn't. Was that on Nickelodeon?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I never had cable until like 2007. So way
but
past that.
they showed it originated on Nickelodeon, but then not too long after that, they started showing it on some other network. I forget, maybe like UPN or something like that.
Really?
They were showing episodes. Yeah, no, maybe it was like another cable network. I don't remember. I just remember a lot of times I didn't just watch it on Nickelodeon. It was a great show for its time. It is of its time. Like you watch it and you're just like, oh yeah, this is so 90s, like so early 90s. Really spastic and goofy, and it had its moments that were just absolutely hilarious, but I don't know.
You don't know how it's going to translate to 2020.
Well,
they
whatever.
rebooted it in the mid 2000s or something, didn't they?
I
Did
thought
they?
they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought they did, but I never watched that. So I don't. Yeah, I know what. You know what? Now that I think about it, I think I did see some of it. But when they did that, it was still with some of the original people. From what I'm reading about this, it sounds like this is like all new people. So, yeah. And there was a lot of stuff on that show that was dicey, man. Like, it was, even now, you'd watch it and you'd be like, oh, that's pretty messed up, you know? Like, but back then, it especially was messed up. I remember watching it and just being like, this is not for kids. Holy shit. Like, there's so much fucked up innuendo in that show. And
Oh, really?
pretty blatant. Yeah, it's hard to explain. If you people at home, you're going to have to back me up on this. If you haven't watched it, I can't really explain it to you, but
It's kind of like I view Family Guy, where that's not really a kid-friendly show.
Yeah, I mean, Family Guy was definitely a product of, I mean, obviously the most obvious influence on Family Guy would have been The Simpsons.
Right.
But obviously Family Guy was so much more messed up than that. And I feel like there's certain things that they did on Family Guy that I could see the Ren and Stimpy influence there and stuff. Yeah. I
mean, Ren and Stimpy was, I guess, more marketed towards kids, wasn't it?
Yeah, ironically.
Where I think Family Guy, like, I don't think they ever tried
did
to.
it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda like South Park.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, even South Park kind of, at the time, I remember it being sort of like a kids. There was a lot of kids that were watching South Park, and I was like, dude, this is not
for kids.
I mean, big time not for kids. But yeah, people are weird, man. Animated stuff, they just think like, oh, it's for kids. It's like, no. You know, I wouldn't exactly sit a kid down, like a 7-year-old, and be like, here, watch a whole season of Archer.
Oh, yeah. Or Frisky Dingo or something.
Oh, my God. Frisky Dingo. It's the fucking best, man. Frisky Dingo was the best. Did you ever see?
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Okay, well, Frisky Dingo was created by, it was like the sort of like the precursor to Archer.
Oh.
And a lot of the same people involved in it and stuff.
Same style, too, is sort of where Archer kind of borrowed all their stuff from, the animation and just the kind of humor and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really good shit, man.
Yeah, it's me and Vito, like, I always, a lot of times if we're going on a tour, I'll be like, hey, dude, bring Frisky Dingo with you. So, because I'm going to need that for our sanity. You know, at some point I just need to like watch Frisky Dingo. And then I end up just quoting it all the time on the damn tour and annoying everybody. But yeah, it's a great show. But in any case, yeah. And you know what? It seems to be a thing too, because on top of that, they're bringing back, because now it's going to be bring back late 80s and 90s stuff. They're also supposed to be rebooting Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel that they did that too a while ago. They brought him back for a couple episodes or something.
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I love Beavis and Butthead though, man.
Do you?
Did you?
Yeah.
I hate Beavis and Butthead.
I mean, you got to understand, I was like
Right.
10 or 12, something like that when that show was on. So,
see, I just got so offended by that show because, like, you know, that was the mid 90s, and being a metal dude in the mid 90s was a fucking challenge, you know, because we were like as uncool as could possibly be at the time, you know. And the whole crux of that show was that they were supposed to be these little like really stupid metal kids because they make them wear like Metallica Slayer shirts and all this stuff, and they'd act as like just bottom feeder, just as dumb as could be.
Yeah.
And that was annoying because it was like I guess I knew a couple people that were kind of like Beavis and Butthead. I guess we all have, but most of the metal dudes and everybody I knew, they didn't act like that. You know, they didn't behave like that. I remember one time specifically, I was at the mall, some like jockey type like meathead dudes, right? Other 18-year-olds or whatever, like I was at the time. they were walking by and they saw me, and I probably had like a Slayer shirt on or something like that, and they were like pointing at me, and they were like, hey Beavis, look at that, and everything. And I was just like, dude, I don't even watch that show. Like, what are you even talking about? Like, and they're like, oh, fire, you know, like, and I'm like, those guys are more like you, you know, and which is true. I'm like, they're more like you fucking meatheads, you know, the kind of shit they do. This is the stuff that you fucking clods do, not guys like me. That really annoyed me. And then on top of it, you know, especially at the time, because everything was changing and MTV was going more towards rap and hip hop and grunge and alternative and stuff, and not wanting to play metal videos and stuff anymore. And when they would show metal videos on Beavis and Butthead, most of the time, Beavis and Butthead made fun of them. And I'm like, well, what kind of fucking bullshit control are you trying to pull on people? You know, mind control are you pulling on people here? Because, like, you're giving everybody the impression that, oh, well, these are metal kids, like, make fun of them because they're idiots, you know what I mean? But then at the same time, the metal kids are watching metal videos on there, and they're putting down the metal music. But then they'd put on like some Naughty by Nature video, and Beavis and Butthead are up dancing on the couch and going, oh yeah, oh. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, this is some serious bullshit here. Like, if you're going to at least try to portray these kids as being metal kids, then at least have them like metal music. But they're showing Morbid Angel videos and making fun of it. And I was, and stuff. And I'm like, fuck you. It's fucking Morbid Angel, you cunts. Like, they're one of the best fucking bands out there. Morbid Angel are fucking amazing. Back me up.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, you
all right. Hey, man, we've ripped off some Morbid Angel riffs. You got to give it credit where it's due. So, but I'm just saying, it's like they're sitting there making fun of like Morbid Angel videos and all this other stuff, but they're loving the rap videos and all the other horse shit that MTV was trying to market. And that's why I'm saying, like, to me, Beavis and Butthead was a complete and utter marketing ploy. But yeah, man, anyway, point is, Beavis and Butthead's coming back. I couldn't care less. I think it's awful. I thought there were moments in the Beavis and Butthead Do America movie that were kind of funny.
Fuck, that movie's incredible.
That movie was funny, but I feel like that was different. It was very different from the show. It was written very differently from the show. It didn't have anything to do with the music video rating stuff and everything. And there was actually some really good humor. And ironically, a lot of people don't like the movie.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, really?
They're like, oh, the show was good, the movie was lame. I'm like, oh, see, I feel differently. The movie has some great parts.
There's a Beavis and Butthead video game called Beavis and Butthead in Virtual Stupidity that I used to play all the fucking time. It was like a point-and-click adventure game.
Okay.
Where they were like in high school, you had to get out of school and then go through the neighborhood and get shit. It was so much fun, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You love your point and click.
I do. I get so much shit for it too from my friends, but they're the best, man.
Yeah.
You like what you like.
Oh yeah.
And speaking of all that, they're supposed to be doing, which was a spin-off in its own self. They're supposed to be doing a spin-off show now of Daria. From
really?
Daria, of another character. I don't know if it's supposed to be like Daria's daughter or something like that, but I liked Daria.
I never watched Daria.
Oh, see, Daria was a good show. I actually liked that show. That was like more well thought out. I felt like the characterization of people in that show was a little still satire. Yeah. But I felt like it was a little more true. Like the musician guys, the rock musician guys that they had as characters in that show, I was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty accurate, you know, like, well, I know death metal people. We know some that hated Metalocalypse. Yeah. When Metalocalypse came out, I know some death metal dudes that were really offended by that show. They were like, man, they're making fun of it. And I'm like, dude, this show is so fucking accurate. And take it, because I'm a death metal dude, man. I'm like, I gotta be real. Like, real talk, man. There is stuff that they say. It's so embarrassing. The Metalocalypse for us is kind of like what Spinal Tap must have been to bands back in the 80s. Yeah. When people watch Spinal Tap and were like, oh, God, I've said that. Or like, we've had that happen. That's us with Metalocalypse, man. There's times me and Vito and Paul would be watching Metalocalypse, and there's things they'd say, and we'd be like, oh my God, we've said that. Or being in the studio and like one guy can't fucking the bass player can't play his bass parts, and the guitar player is putting on the mute button so he can. And he's like, "Please just let me go in there and record this." I'm like, "Oh my god, this is my life." Oh, anyway, yeah. There's all these different reboots and everything. This isn't a cartoon, but here's another. It's kind of a reboot sequel kind of thing. They're redoing Who's the Boss?
God no.
Yeah.
With Tony Danza
And Alyssa Milano. They're doing a Full House kind of thing where it's 30 years later and she's going to be a single mom living in the same exact house.
Dude, that's going to be so weird seeing that house, though. See, because I know that's how it was, I'm sure, for you with Fuller House and stuff. But, like, I hate Full House, so who cares? But I know I am a man out on his own island in this episode because the two of you are just like, you're bagging on all the stuff we love and vice versa.
I only watched the first 3 episodes, I think, of Fuller House, though. I didn't make through the rest of it.
It was okay.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. But so, I'm willing to give this a shot. They're doing the same, going down the same road, so.
But I guess.
And I love that show so much. I'm willing to.
Yeah.
What, Who's the Boss?
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
Fucking love that
Never
show.
got into that.
Dude.
We know, Vito.
I know.
Oh.
After, Name That Tune?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when we did the
Name
name
that
that
show.
theme, name the theme song. Yeah. Oh man, dude, Who's the Boss is so rad. I love that show. But yeah, Angela's not in it, and Jonathan's not in it.
Not in it yet. But they were giving their full support of it.
Yeah, but it's not the same. I mean, part of why, again, not a fan, but I acknowledge part of why Fuller House works is because they got that cast back. And it kind of makes it more, I feel like, more interesting. If it's just going to be Tony and Samantha, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe they'll make an appearance at some point.
That would be cool. It would be well, let's put it this way. Even if we don't see them, I hope that they still factor into the story.
Yeah.
You know,
and they mention them kind of like in Fuller House that the twins aren't there.
right.
Yeah.
But they mention them all the time.
But nobody wants them there anyway. Nobody wants the Olsen twins there. I mean, they're just such a handful now. Could you imagine? Seriously, could you imagine if they were? I know you're a fan, so you're going to say like you want them there, but
it would have been cool to make your same point that you're trying to make with Jonathan and stuff. But it would have been cool to at least see them in one episode.
Yeah, they should have at least done some sort of appearance type thing. Like, even if it was that they're jet setting across the world or something, you know.
They called from the airport or something.
Yeah,
stupid.
have them on a Skype
matter.
call or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably about the safest distance to have from the Olsen twins.
Yeah, because how do you do Who's the Boss without Mona?
Well, yeah.
She's passed away.
Mona died last year.
Yeah, last year.
So maybe you assholes shouldn't have waited so fucking long. If you were going to do this, you could have done it 5 years ago. We could have had Mona, who was the best character on Who's the Boss.
I agree.
Yeah, Mona she had it going on, man. She had style.
Sure did.
She was cool. But anyway, so yeah, I guess I'll give that a chance. I also heard that there is another, I don't know, is it supposed to be a spinoff or a sequel? I guess it's a sequel that I'm sure you'll be all excited about, featuring Jennifer Grey.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this one.
And it's
one of those that you don't fuck with. Dirty Dancing.
Yeah. Do you know anything about it? I don't know anything about it.
There's really no other information other than she's been confirmed to be participating in it.
Okay.
But there's no plot or who else is going to be in it or a timeline or a name of the movie. I haven't seen anything other than she's been confirmed.
Okay.
To be a part of it. So I guess with Labyrinth, we're just going to have to wait and see what they do with it.
Well, because that's the problem. Same as what we were just saying about Mona. What we were saying last time or a couple episodes ago when we were talking about Labyrinth and Bowie not being there. I mean, you don't have the Swayze, man.
You don't have the Swayze, but it could be like Grease 2 that you love, and you don't have Travolta or Sandy.
Yeah, okay.
Olivia Newton-John.
But here's the thing, all right?
No, there's no thing.
I can't, no. I mean, listen, just hear me out. I can't defend Grease 2. I love Grease 2. Ugh. I fucking love. I know every word of that movie. I've watched it so many times, okay? I love Grease too, but I can't defend it. Like, I can't sit there and try to say, like Vito tries to say about some of his fucking movies. I can't sit there and be like, no, guys, it's a really good movie. It's not. I know it's not, but I love it anyway. I love it because it's so ridiculous and campy, and I do think there's some good performances in it and stuff. Adrian Zmed's amazing in that movie as Johnny Nagarelli. But anyway, so I don't know if I would exactly sit there and try to say like, well, but look at Grease 2. Dirty Dancing 2 might be great. No, that's not a good defense for it. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I tried. I don't know. Maybe Jennifer Grey's character, Baby's going to be the hot MILF.
Or maybe she'll get put into a corner in this movie.
She might.
Nobody puts Baby in a corner.
Sweezy's not there to get her out.
I suppose. Maybe I'll be really curious. Maybe like she's like taken over like the resort or something like
or
that.
Dancing school or something.
Or some kind of or something like that. Yeah.
We'll have to see
And
what
she's
they do
training
with
the new Baby.
Oh,
it. The new Sweezy.
Oh boy.
It's gonna get scandalous.
There's going to be lifts left and right. But I mean, I know one spinoff that you, Megan, you just have to be so excited about.
No, I'm not.
No, I mean, come on.
No.
I can see it written all over your face.
I'm really not.
Because there's speculation
No.
that they're going to
Please don't do it.
A reboot of Reboot.
Reboots. I remember that show.
Fuck yeah, dude.
What would you call it? Rebooter?
Yeah, I guess.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about the spinoff that's being proposed for none other than Captain Janeway.
Fuck yeah.
She's just gonna cry this whole time too.
Oh man, Megan. I'm telling you, you got to make it past episode 6 or whatever the last one you saw, because she doesn't do crying.
Nope.
One day I'll do it.
It's, it's so funny because I really do think that if you got more into the Voyager series, if you gave it more of a chance, you'd end up really liking it. There's some incredible storylines.
Sometimes it's neck and neck with Next Gen for me. I'm telling you, it's
Wow.
like, yeah, it's really fucking good.
Yeah, maybe I'll try it again. I'm binge watching Deep Space Nine right now.
Okay.
So then maybe
How's that going?
It's good. I'm enjoying it.
Oh, see, there you go. Because if you can enjoy Deep Space Nine,
I can't get
I
into
didn't
that.
as a kid. I couldn't stand that
No,
fucking
me
show.
neither.
But I'm enjoying it more now, for sure. So maybe I'll give it another flipping try.
And
I'll
with any-
have to if they're going to do another goddamn
Yeah,
reboot
and with
for
any
it.
Star Trek, the first 1 or 2 seasons is pretty bad. There's a lot of clunkers in there, but you know how it goes.
If she stops crying, that'll be a miracle.
I'm telling you. It's, again, and I mean, as a diehard Trek fan, you should know better, because the first season is always challenging. I mean, even Picard proved that.
I know, but I got enjoyment out of that. Second she starts crying or pouty face, I was like, oh my God, here we go. And then I'm lost.
Well, here's the funny thing about it. I noted about you the other day is that it's like, Megan, you know, it's not to say that you don't have your moments of girl power, but you are very critical when it comes to,
I kind of am, aren't I?
yeah, like
I'm
when
very anti-feminist or whatever. I'm not, but I am.
Yeah, you're like, it's like there could be songs on the radio and it could be like male, 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 and it gets to a female song.
Like, oh my God, shut up.
Yep. And
I am.
female leads in TV shows and stuff. She's just very like, this bitch, I can't stand her. Blah, blah, blah. So
This is true.
yeah, if people would think like the guys on this show would be like all, chauvinistic or something, we're not at all. Like, we think Janeway's great, and it's even most of the female characters on the Trek shows and stuff are like my favorite characters.
Yeah, for sure.
Uhura,
Crusher.
oh yeah,
Pulaski.
Jerry
I
Ryan.
okay, Pulaski.
All right. Come
Pulaski
on.
is the exception.
mean, joking.
Better fucking be.
Oh my God. There are very few Trek fans out there that were unhappy to see her go, because no, it is Beverly Crusher all the way.
Yeah, I've never once ever met somebody or read something that says Pulaski was better than Crusher.
No,
Ever.
No,
It's not possible.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't think it does. You know?
Yeah. So anyway, B'Elanna
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah, all really good characters.
7 of 9.
7 of 9. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. Yeah.
My janitor came in. I have a calendar on my desk that's Star Trek, and he came in and was looking at it because he likes to look at it every day because he loves Star Trek as well.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, I need to take that off and switch it. And I flipped it, and it was Jerry Ryan. He's like, his mouth dropped, and he just stared. I was like, would you like this one? He's like, yes, please. I'm like, all right, I'll tear it off now. You can take that with you. Go
Wow.
enjoy Jerry Ryan.
Boy, oh
It's pretty
boy.
funny.
That is funny. But yeah, well, and then here's one last bit of Star Trek info. So, you know, they've been debating about what they're going to do next in terms of the movies and stuff, because unfortunately, for some fucking reason, people just have it out for the Kelvin timeline.
I don't get that. I love it.
Yeah. It's good.
Man, and the more and more that I've watched those movies, I enjoy them more. Like, I was more critical of them when I first saw them, and then now the more I've watched them, I'm like, no, man. I mean, again, people, if you're going to try to compare, I'm not going to compare it to the original.
Apples and oranges.
Yeah, exactly. This is an alternate universe, you know, but it's so freaking good. I watched Star Trek Beyond the other day. Again, I hadn't watched it in a while, and I loved the hell out of it. It was so enjoyable. Like, even though I've seen it a couple times before, I was just like, man, I still really enjoy this movie, if not more.
Right.
But anyway, it seems like they've all but given up on that now, and they've been debating about what they're going to do next. And apparently, they're back at this whole idea of having Quentin Tarantino do the next Star Trek movie, and it's supposed to be related to the 1930s gangster motif thing, like, because that's all he could do is gangster movies.
So
apparently.
fucking dumb.
And
I don't know. I think I could kind of get behind
Yeah.
this. Because you think the original series, half of their things was
yeah,
visiting planets and going back in time.
well, and they said that
It could be a neat
yeah,
aspect.
yeah, they said that there's a chance that something about that this might be connected to or inspired by a piece of the action episode from season 2 of the original Star Trek, which is a great episode, but it's not one of those ones that I would say like, oh yeah, I want to see a
movie of
movie
this.
based off of this. It's like, oh, come on, man. Why? Just so they can have, you know, gangster guys like you'd see in Pulp Fiction or something like that, you know, so he can do some version of that. I like Tarantino. Yeah, I like Tarantino. There's some of his movies I love. Okay. I don't think I want to see Tarantino do a Star Trek movie. I just don't want to. It's not the flavor I want for a Trek movie.
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah. I see. I don't know.
Because you know how the dialogue's going to be, and that's not how you picture a Starfleet officer talking. You
Right.
know? It's like, I don't know. And plus, dude, with Star Trek, I'm not getting this fascination with us going back in time. It's like, dude, push the envelope. Show us what happens after the Federation collapses. That's what I want to see. Not this Discovery stuff and in between this series and this series. Like, push it to the future, man. That's what I want to see.
And that's one thing that I love about Doctor Who. Because Doctor Who
Does it both.
does both, for as much as it's timey-wimey and it goes back in time and all this, and they do a lot of things where they're back in Victorian England again and all that kind of shit, which are some great episodes. But they've done episodes where they've gone to, like, I think it was one of the first episodes of the quote-unquote new Doctor Who with the Ninth Doctor, when he takes Rose to the future. And they're on this like space station, and she's like, what are we doing? What are we looking at? And he's like, oh, we're looking, this is the day the Earth explodes.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like millions of years into the future and stuff. And it's like, whoa, that's heavy. And the emotion of it is heavy because she's like, oh my God, you know, like, I understand that me and my family are long, long gone and everything. She's like, but it's just still like emotional to think that that's my home world and it's about to die.
Yeah.
and everything. And I guess at that point, like the Earth was like abandoned and stuff like that. But still, it would, like how awesome would it be for Trek to do something like that?
Yeah.
To like go that far in the future and just be like, whoa, like this is not the future we expected. And maybe there's things they can do to change that, and yeah, I'm down with that. I don't need to see Pulp Fiction Star Trek, I just, we're going to have like Spock and Kirk arguing about like Big Macs and stuff and quarter pounders. And
maybe it'd be cool for them to do a whole timey-wimey thing where they're back and forth like Doctor Who.
Maybe.
They bounce back and forth between the past and the future.
It's Trek,
kind of like the whale one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
the
went back
Voyage
in
Home.
time, the Voyage Home. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm open to checking it out if they do it, but
I'm cautiously optimistic.
we
We'll
will
see.
see.
We shall see.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
All right, and as usual, I think it is about time we get into a little bit of squad talk. Yeah, I thought the kind of a little bit of, I guess, somewhat of a lighthearted topic this time, but I thought I'd talk about something because there was a meme that was going around and got shared in the squad where it was talking about, remember when you were a kid and you first found out about like the Bermuda Triangle, and that was like such a thing. And that you, as a kid, you found out about it, and it was one of those things at that age where you were just like, why aren't we doing something about this? Like, this is a serious issue, And it just made me think of like, I know we're different ages. I'm a little bit older than you guys, but I think generally we still kind of had some of the same experiences growing up, where there was a lot of stuff back then that seemed like it was so much more dire and important than, and a lot of them are things that like people just don't care about now. And I mean, like, well, just like for example, is the Bermuda Triangle thing. Like, I'm fascinated with the Bermuda Triangle, and they've still never really solved it. I mean, there have been theories about weather stuff that goes on there and everything.
Gas bubbles and stuff from the ocean. And
Right.
But there's still a lot of like disappearances and different things that are really hard to explain that are related to the Bermuda Triangle, that now it's like everybody's just sort of like, oh,
It
whatever.
doesn't seem like we hear about it as much as we used to.
No.
It seemed like we were like constantly Bermuda Triangle, Bermuda Triangle, Bermuda Triangle. And then now
When
it's
we
like,
were kids.
occasionally we'll talk about it, but
Yeah. When we were kids, there were all these, and that was the thing. Maybe it was because of when we grew up, because when we were kids, back in the 70s and the 80s, everything was like in search of and unsolved mysteries
and
sightings and all that stuff. And then there were other shows, and then there were shows that would bring up like amazing stuff like That's Incredible and all these like shows like that was just constantly. And then there were these movies, because there were movies about the Bermuda Triangle and movies about like mysteries of the pyramids and movies about like Raise the Titanic. What are the mysteries of like down there in the like
and Geraldo Rivera specials.
Yes. Yes, exactly. There was all those Geraldo specials about, and like,
God, I forgot about those things.
right. See my point? That's my point, man, is like when we were kids back then, everything was this fucked up mystery, man. Like,
because it was pre-internet. Now it's like debunked.
I guess.
I guess so.
But a lot of things I think aren't debunked though. And that's why, I mean, obviously a lot of the stuff we've talked about on the Geeking Poetic podcast and stuff in the past, things like Mysteries of Egypt and, you know, all these other things. But again, these are all things that I feel like when we were younger, they were focused on, man. Like there was a lot of focus on it. Internet or no internet. You know, there was just like a lot of people that were like, I'm really interested and concerned about this. Even back in like, say, the 90s and the early 2000s, we were getting bombarded with like History Channel shows and stuff like that, like a lot about it. And then it's all just sort of fizzled out and it's like nobody cares anymore. Now everybody just talks about politics and, you know, Kanye West. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. And I'm just like, but what about the Bermuda Triangle? I sat there when I was 7 and I watched a whole fucking documentary about this shit. And it got me all worked up. You know?
I wanted to go there just to be abducted by aliens, man. That was like my whole purpose in life when I was a kid. I was like, I got to go through the Bermuda Triangle and see what's going on there.
Dude,
I believe that.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me at all. Dude, I know you're going to laugh at me about this, but I mean, like, this stuff was so burned into my brain as I was a kid that when we flew down to South America for the first time, and I was flying, and I'd turn on our little TVs that we had in that plane and everything. They had really nice TVs in that plane, and back in the back of the headrest. And I turned on to see like where we were at on the map, you know, because it'll tell you where your flight is at the time. And I was looking, and I was just like thinking to myself, like, man, I hope we ain't nowhere near that Bermuda Triangle. I'm like,
It'd be our luck, too.
It would be.
Yeah, it totally would, man. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I still have that in my head, but then it's like you talk to people, a lot of people about it, and they're just like, what? Like, who cares? That's not a thing. And I'm like, but it was a thing. There's just so many things like that. Like, and then like commenters even brought up. And I mean, obviously, again, I guess this is one of those things that some of these things do get debunked, but like somebody brought up about like another thing you would be like always, it was in every video game, cartoon, TV show, adventure movie. It was quicksand.
The old quicksand.
Man. You'd be
I really thought that was going to be more of an issue.
yeah.
Watch where you're stepping. There's going to be quicksand.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you are. Quicksand.
Yeah, I remember just thinking about it and just being like, I can remember being like 10 years old and just being like, I need to know what I should do if I ever wind up falling in quicksand. Like, am I going to be able to like get out of it? Because there just seemed like nothing more terrifying than the idea of being killed by quicksand.
Yeah, just you don't move. Don't move. It just make it worse.
Right.
You'll disappear.
Yeah.
Right. But they didn't really tell you that. Like, it just seemed like one of those things where like I'd be walking through the forest preserve one day and then boom, quicksand.
Yep, quicksand. Yep. Middle of the desert, quicksand.
And I mean, I grew up in the age of playing video games like Pitfall, you know, and Pitfall 2, and they had fucking quicksand in there, man. And you had to time that shit just fucking right, because you did not want to fall in that quicksand, dude. You thought jumping on the alligator heads was bad? You could survive that. If you got caught by that quicksand,
Done.
fucking done. You're done. So yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things like that when we were kids that were just made, like things that we were so alarmed about.
Like, I really was worried about everybody being caught on fire, like all the time. Everybody's just walking around on fire because we had it drilled in our heads, stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah.
Walking around on fire.
Well, remember spontaneous combustion was like a huge thing in the 90s.
And liar pants on fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, jeez.
So I really thought more people would be catching on fire as badly as we had to learn how to stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah. Never once stopped, dropped, and rolled my entire life.
Only to practice it, to learn it. Haven't
Even then, I don't
needed
think I did it
since.
as a kid.
Well, dude, wasn't
Knock on
that...
wood, haven't needed it since.
Well, it was all those things that we'd see in those PSAs from G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Because
And Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle PSAs.
Yep. They had stop, drop, and roll was a big one on there. Oh, you know, it was another one, and I can think of it now because now I'm thinking of G.I. Joe PSAs and stuff, is I can remember being so worried about the stop, drop, and roll thing, like knowing how to do that, and not getting stuck in like an abandoned like refrigerator or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, like, was that just like really common? Were there just like lots of fucking refrigerators and freezers and stuff being left and right? Because I mean, like, that was a thing, man. It was just like, you needed to let kids know. And I mean, I'm not saying that's not good to know because it's a legit thing. You could get trapped in there to be bad.
Well,
but
just like stop and drop it. It is a good thing to know, but I really thought this would be a big problem.
but I feel like catching on fire for one reason or another
is a legitimate concern.
It's a little bit more common than like how many kids are like out being exposed to fucking abandoned refrigerators that it was that major of a thing. Like, we better make a cartoon about this. You know what I mean? I guess it was. Maybe it's because maybe I just didn't live in an area where that was
an issue,
but maybe other people that live in more urban areas where there's a lot of like abandoned fridges or something.
Or they live near a dump or something.
Yeah.
Or they live
Kids
in
go
the
play in a
dump.
dump.
I was just going to say, there were parts of my hood that was a dump, but I mean, yeah, it's funny. I mean, and then there were things that were like legit. There were other things that were legitimately a concern, but at the time, I don't think I realized how much of a legit concern it was. Not that it was like the whole duck and cover thing with like the bomb.
Yeah.
with bombs and nuclear war and everything. And it's great because it just goes to show the naivete. Because that's what I'm saying. Like, as a kid, if you asked me, I would have been like, not as we're, like, well, if I catch on fire, I got stop, drop, and roll and everything, Quicksand, there ain't shit we can do about that. I'm real worried about quicksand.
But if the Russians attack, I got the perfect solution.
I got a desk. And
Nuclear bomb? I'm fine.
Yeah, I got a desk and a book. I can go under my desk and I can put a book over my head and I'll be all right. And it's like, son, no.
That's not going to do shit for you.
That literally will not help you at all.
The best place to be in a nuclear attack is to catch the bomb as it falls on you. That's the best place you could possibly be.
Because you'll go so quick.
You don't want to be 15 miles out or 20 miles out because that's
suffer then.
Yeah, that's really bad. But just catch that bomb and you'll be just fine.
But that's what I'm saying. So there's like, everything was just so mixed up back then. Like, it was such a jumbled mess of like, get us all worried about the Bermuda Triangle and quicksand. But, nuclear bomb, we got you. We got a plan for that. Here's something I don't get. So I'm going to ask you this because you're the Oklahoma girl.
Okay.
So I'm guessing, and I'm sure we all did, I'm sure you did too, Vito, but I'm guessing that you especially had a lot of experience with tornado drills.
Yeah. Yeah. And not just drills, but yes.
Like
real deal, yeah.
Okay. So when you were in school and something like that happened, what was the plan? What did you guys do?
We usually had to go out in the hallway and tuck in anywhere without a window.
Okay.
Did you have to clasp your hands behind
behind your neck and stuff.
So, okay.
To protect your head.
All
protect the vital organs.
Right. In case the glass shatters and cuts the back of your cerebrum, you got your hands there to cover you.
Right? Better than nothing. Or we'd have to take a book and put a book over our head or something.
Protect the head.
But the precious cargo.
Fuck. But here's my question. So, I mean, okay, so I wanted to know if you guys did the same thing, and that's the same thing we did. Mm-hmm. Okay?
I think it's pretty universal.
But what good does that do? I mean, really? The last thing, I mean, I get it. Okay, you're safer there than being by maybe a window. Mm-hmm. But if a fucking tornado comes and hits the school, I got some news. Having your head half stuck in a fucking open locker out in the hallway, it's not a great idea either.
Mm-hmm. No, again, it's just kind of like the nuclear bomb where you're kind of fucked, but depends on where it hits, I guess.
Like,
yeah, I see.
If it hits you dead on, you're fucked anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah, in that case, if a school's in like a known tornado valley that actually gets hit with tornadoes, I would think that they have like an underground cafeteria or something like that where you would go.
Exactly my point. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's like, if this is that legit of a concern, which obviously it is because we had to do this fucking drill every month, if it's that legit of a concern, how about creating an actual area that is legitimately fucking safe, not just go kneel in the hallway with your head between your knees and your hands on the back of your head with your, up against a metal locker. That's not, you tell me like, oh no, we have like a like
a bunker.
A bunker, or even it's like, well, we have a gymnasium that has no windows at all and has double steel doors that we blah, 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 blah. Even that, I mean, still, if the building gets hit by a tornado, like that still can be bad. But that still seems like a better solution than just go out in the hallway. Not to mention that at either end of my hallway in grade school were these big fucking windows. So what fucking good was that going to do? It's like, well, it's less glass to, so instead of all you motherfuckers getting cut, it's only some of you motherfuckers going to get cut. So sorry motherfuckers get cut.
Well, these guys knew that the kids were going to die, and they just had to make a plan and make you feel better about doing it.
Well, that's my point. It's all bullshit. And that's just what I'm saying. It's like they got us worked up about some bullshit and not worked up about the real bullshit. And isn't that just always the way?
That is the way.
This is the way. Like the Mandalorian says, you don't got to worry about the Bermuda Triangle or quicksand, but nuclear bombs and tornadoes and all that, that's
you're fine.
Yeah, that's the shit that you got to worry about. So it's just funny thinking about all those things that we worried about and shouldn't have, but then other things that we didn't worry about, and now it's like, oh my God. We should have totally been worried about that.
Yeah, you would really think a Tornado Alley school, they should just have a shelter underneath the freaking school.
Yeah. Or build the lockers big enough
to fit in,
to be able for kids to like fit in, and have some kind of like inside like safety latch thing so they didn't get trapped
so they
in
can
there.
Fly in through the air like the refrigerator in Indiana Jones.
No, that's
the
for
nuclear bombs.
No, that's for the
See, it all comes together now.
Exactly. And they told us not to go in the fucking refrigerators. They told us not to go in the fucking refrigerators, and yet that might have been the thing to save us from the nuclear bomb. It worked for Indiana Jones.
It's got to be true.
Yeah.
They were all just trying to fucking kill us. That's what it came down to. Bunch of bullshit.
It's all a ploy.
Yep.
It is.
They wanted the insurance money. That's all it was.
Overcrowding in the schools.
Wow.
What do you suggest?
All right. Well, we are winding down. We are reaching the inevitable end of Squad Talk, Squad Cast, Squad Podcast. It's coming to the end. It was the squad. It was the Geeking Squad bomb coming down, going, like Missile Command or something.
Okay. We'll go with that.
Meg's like, yeah, that's fine. You go with it. Whatever. I'll humor you. But as usual, now we are at the what do you suggest portion of the show, and this is where the three of us suggest something that we like and we think you all ought to check out. As always, I start with Vito. So, Vito, what do you suggest?
So this week I've got a podcast for you guys called Office Ladies.
Yep.
So the last few months I've been watching The Office, and I finally finished the series, and I found out that the characters Pam and Angela in real life are really best friends, and they just started this podcast called Office Ladies where they go through each episode of the series and give you some tidbits about behind the scenes, what it was like to film it, and just insider scoops, and it's incredible.
It's really
awesome.
funny.
Yeah.
It's really funny because it's not like scripted out or anything. I mean, it's literally just the two of them chatting.
BSing back and forth.
Yeah, because they're a couple of, middle-aged actress moms. They're moms now. They're just real normal people, you know what I mean? So there's no air of Hollywood anything on them. They're very down to earth, and they're really funny.
Yeah.
They're like naturally funny. And what's even more funny about it is the Pam character on the show is the one who's like a little bit more like spunky and, quirky and outgoing and stuff like that. And Angela is like the most uptight woman on the planet. She's just like so uptight, and they're kind of frenemies actually on the show. They're sort of like enemies and stuff that become friendlier as time goes by and everything. But in real life, the funny thing is that Jenna, who plays Pam, is super reserved, just very mellow, very laid back. And Angela is a fucking character.
Yeah.
She is hilarious. Like, she's more like quirky and up. She's like the happiest, most quirkiest, nicest lady. And like couldn't be more different than her character on the show. So that in and of itself makes it funny.
Okay.
Hearing their takes even on their own characters and stuff. And I was happy to hear that you're listening to that because that is a great show.
Yeah.
Especially if anybody, I know there's a lot of Office fans out there. You've never really watched it.
I have never had any interest in watching that show, so I think I'm gonna check this podcast out, and maybe it'll help me generate interest because I keep hearing about it. Like,
I was the same
I need
way.
to watch it. So,
But see, I was the same way. I only just recently got into it. I was the same way. I was like, that doesn't seem like my kind of show. You know, I'm not interested in Office humor stuff, you know. No.
I deal with that shit every day. I don't want to watch it too.
I know, but but some of it is kind of probably what
That'd
makes
be like
it so funny.
My Metalocalypse.
Metalocalypse.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That thing.
Yeah. Yeah, in a lot of ways. And it's just the actors, it's an incredible cast. So sometimes some of it is like so over the top ridiculous that I'm kind of like, oh, geez, okay. But a lot of it is really funny. So, yeah, it's worth giving a shot.
All right, I'll do it.
And it's another show where you have to kind of make it through season 1 because it changes a lot after season 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially Steve Carell. Like a bunch of the characters, they sort of, it didn't, season 1 almost sunk the show. It didn't do really well at first. And then they did some changes. And they made Steve Carell's character way more like goofy and not such a dick and everything. And
The first season's only like 6 episodes, so
Right.
it's super quick to
okay.
get through.
Yeah, it's easy to get through.
Yeah, I'm not a real big Steve Carell fan, so
Okay.
I think that's kind of been like, I don't care. So
I already know just from stories you've told me about your work that there's going to be characters and things on this show that you're going to be like, oh, God,
oh boy,
I've lived through this.
this is my life.
Yeah.
Okay.
So worth checking out. But yeah, that's a good one, man. Yeah.
I wish they did a spinoff of just The Warehouse because I would be like, oh, dude, I can probably write a show called The Warehouse so well.
Well, maybe you should. Maybe you should. Could be done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know. All right, Megan.
Yes.
What do you suggest?
I am going to suggest a little show I just recently found. I'm only a few episodes in, like 4 episodes in. It's 2 seasons so far. I hope there's more because I'm really enjoying it. But it is a Netflix show called The Imposters.
Okay.
And it's about a show where this beautiful young woman, basically she cons all these people into marrying her. And then she absconds with all their money.
Okay.
Nice.
And it ends up, it's not just her, it's a team.
Oh.
And they're working for this guy called the Doctor. And he sets it up and gets them their new IDs and changes their identities and their appearances and everything. And they just travel all over the place and hit these people that are kind of asshole-ish or whatever and steal their money.
Sounds pretty damn interesting.
But,
Actually.
but yeah, it's pretty interesting. But the twist to it is the last few, like the last 3 spouses end up getting together. They find each other to track her down.
Oh.
To put a stop to it to get their money back and everything. And I've just left off where they actually caught up to her.
Ooh.
So I was like, ooh, this is about to get real interesting. But they learn along the way how to grift themselves
Okay.
because they don't have jobs anymore.
Right.
And they're traveling, following all these leads everywhere, trying to find where she's at so they can't stop and make money. And she stole all their money, so they don't have any savings, so they have to grift and steal off. And their thing is, we have to have a code where we can't steal from the elderly or children or women or something like that, or good guys, so they only grift from assholes.
Interesting.
So it's pretty funny to watch them practice.
Nice.
They practice on each other, lifting wallets and watches and stuff off. But I'm really enjoying it.
Cool.
Is it a new show?
There's only 2 seasons.
Oh, okay. There's
so far.
more than one season.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. There's 2 seasons of it. I'm hoping it's still going. I haven't really researched it yet. I literally just found it a couple days ago.
Okay.
But I'm really enjoying it. So
Cool. That's a good recommendation.
Yep.
Well, kind of somewhat along the same lines, I'm going to recommend that, and I'm sure a lot of people probably already are aware of this or watching it, but my recommendation is the recent, it only came out, about a week and a half ago, the second season of The Umbrella Academy.
Fuck yes.
Fuck yes is right. I enjoyed the second season of Umbrella Academy so much that I watched it twice.
Oh boy.
Watched all
In a week and a half.
Yes. Yeah, I watched because I watched most of it the first time within like a day or so.
Holy moly.
Yeah, it was
It's 10 episodes.
Yep. It was great. It was so good, man. I enjoyed the first season of Umbrella Academy. I did enjoy it. It sucked me in. I had some reservations about it. There were certain things that I was like, I don't know how I feel about this character or these plot points and where they're going, but it left me on a note that I said, okay, well,
You're still curious. You're ready.
this is wide open now. Like I don't want to give anything. I don't want to give anything away in case people haven't watched any of it yet. But yeah,
Vito.
Yeah, Vito's still working on it.
Yeah.
But
take me a while to get through
Yeah.
2 seasons of that shit.
It's an easy watch, though.
Yeah.
I feel like it's an easy watch. Like it's. I mean, yeah, you're talking each season is 10 hours or whatever. But I felt like it went pretty quick.
It goes really fast.
Yeah.
Especially the second season, because there's so much that happens. And it's really cool because more so in the second season, the characters all kind of, again, without giving anything away, they all sort of find themselves at first being on their own adventures, and which all present their own challenges. And you kind of find out that it's really important for them to all get back together and get it back together, because the whole theme of this show is like, actions having consequences is really what it comes down to. And that nothing is insignificant. Nobody is insignificant. Like, even if you think somebody or something in some period or something that happened, everything matters. You know what I mean? And makes a difference. And yeah, man. So if you enjoyed season 1, definitely watch season 2. And if you didn't enjoy season 1, or if you were like, I don't know how I feel about it, like,
It's a little too weird.
it is weird, but I feel like there's a lot of things, there's still a lot of questions, but there's a lot of things that get sort of like explained, and you sort of understand more of how things work, and you also kind of get more in depth. Like, if there's certain characters, like characters from the Academy, that you kind of go, well, that person's an asshole, or that person seems pathetic, or like, you kind of get even more character development where you start to like maybe look at things a little differently.
Like, oh, that's why they're like that.
Yeah, and there's certain characters that didn't get touched on maybe as much in the first season, but then they get more of their due in the second, and it's really, really fucking good. I was so surprised how good it was, because I only have a cursory knowledge of the comics and everything.
I don't know squat about the comics.
Yeah, well, the comic series, as is this, it was created by Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance. And, so I have to admit, I don't dislike My Chemical Romance, but I'm not like a big fan. So when I first found out about it, I didn't really delve too much into it, but now that I know more about it, I'm going to go back and read those more. And we're talking about possibly doing a more in-depth kind of review discussion sort of thing about the Umbrella Academy.
It's just how much we're loving it.
Yeah, so we might do a little bit more, especially at least me and Meg, and we'll see if Vito gets caught up or not. But we might do that. So let us know if you people want to hear us talk more about Umbrella Academy and delve into stuff a little bit more. I think we're going to do that. I might do it even if you people don't say
Don't want it. Yeah, don't care.
So
We do what we want.
yeah, exactly. But on that note, before we go, the one thing we love to do is we love to give a shout out recommendation type thing for other podcasts, because it's not just all about us. I mean, we want you to enjoy us, but we want you to enjoy other shows of our friends or our peers or our inspirations, because there's a lot of shows that inspired us to do this in the first place. And a show that we've actually appeared on before as guests. And I've been friends with for a while now. Is the anniversary right now, actually, of the MSR cast, and as well as Metal Geeks. Our friend Carrie Gordon out there. If you are into metal music, but especially even if you're not just into metal, if you're just into all the kind of stuff like we talk about, if you're into Star Trek, Star Wars, Disney, they love Disney stuff over there. Music stuff besides metal, they get into things like the Monkees and like some, classic rock kind of stuff and kitschy stuff. If you dig that kind of stuff, definitely check out MSR Cast. They're available on all the platforms, just like we are. It's good stuff, and especially since they've been around for a while now and celebrating an anniversary, go over there, and it's a good time, as good as any, to jump on board and give them a listen.
Yep.
A little look-see. But on that note, I think that's all there is, right?
Is that a wrap?
Right?
I think so.
They put the bullet in Tommy's head in that house. De Niro's on the phone asking what's up, going, what happened with Tommy? And he's like, well, there's a little problem, and there's nothing we can do about it. That's that. And just like poor Tommy and Goodfellas, it was the end for him. It is the end for us, at least for episode 7. And we will be back in 2 weeks. Right?
Yep, with episode 8.
Episode
Ocho.
The Ocho.
The old Ocho 8 episode. So we'll be back. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody. As usual, like, subscribe, share, comment, especially comment. Freaking comment. We want to know what you think about stuff. Anything.
Give us your thoughts.
Exactly. Give us your brain. I want to eat your brain. Oh, that got a little scary.
It did.
All right, so we're leaving them on a brain
Scary note.
sucking note. Yeah.
Sucking brains.
All right, everybody. Peace. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
See ya.